Joining me now is Tahirah Amatul-Wadud. She is running against Richard Neal, who's also a Democrat in Massachusetts' 1st District. Tahirah, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Thanks for having me, Cenk.
No problem. So Richard Neal is a 15-term congressman who is a Democrat in a progressive district. So what's wrong with him?
Well, the reason that I'm in this race is because he's really just been unresponsive to the needs of the constituents. And we're seeing it over and over again. It's across the board, from failing to even turn up for town hall meetings, to failing to engage constituents when they extend an invitation, to failing to pass advanced policy that really serves this community. And I'm here, I'm giving voice to the people's concerns. There's such an exciting energy in the air. And it's just been a great 8 months.
So you've raised a little bit over $35,000 in the first quarter, from what I can see. And so poor Congressman Neal has only been able to raise $1.9 million. Seems to be a bit of a disparity there. How did he raise the $1.9 million? Was it all small dollar donations from constituents?
Absolutely not. Most of my opponent's funding comes from corporate PACs, and I have been challenging him to suspend accepting corporate PAC money during this race. As I go around the district, I'm listening to people, and consistently we're hearing that folks are concerned that they're paying $800 a month for insulin medication when they're type 1 diabetic, or my own parents paying $300 a month for my mother's long-lasting inhaler. But my opponent has accepted over $200,000 from pharmaceutical companies and healthcare industry operatives in the past few years. So if he's accepting that money and he's financed by the industry, it makes sense that he's not advancing policy to sort of control these Medicare medication costs. It's very, very frustrating for the people here in the 1st District.
So Tahirah, people in Washington would say, are you making the scandalous charge that perhaps getting $200,000 might affect someone's vote?
My opinion is that if we are seeing consistent failure to act by any elected official, and we recognize that they are funded by a particular industry whose interests may be at odds with the interest of their constituents, then the voters will determine whether there's a divided loyalty. Take, for example, here in Western Massachusetts, we have a segment of the community that cannot access local channels on TV, on their cable stations. He has received over $163,000 from the telecom industry, but yet the telecom industry steps on the necks of voters, steps on the neck of consumers. He's actually now running campaign ads against me in the Albany, New York market, because that's the only market the families in the Berkshires can get. So I'm just saying that when I look at what's happening in this community, I see that there's very much a correlation between how he receives funds and what he allows to happen to his constituents. There's nothing he wouldn't do to his constituents. I'm about what can I do for our constituents.
So you've been endorsed by a lot of groups: Our Revolution National, Our Revolution Massachusetts, Progressive Massachusetts, National Women's Political Caucus, Indivisible National Project. It goes on and on. But the reason I say that is, when asked if he would debate you, Congressman Neal said that he wondered about the seriousness of purpose that you had, and that he had to look into your metrics to decide whether he would debate you. So are you serious of purpose? And has he decided to debate you or not?
Oh, there is a seriousness of purpose about this candidacy, let me tell you. And the people of the 1st District, the people of Western Massachusetts have affirmed and validated that we are serious. This is not about me. We were actually invited by the Berkshire County branch of the NAACP to an open town hall debate. It was supposed to happen last week. And the congressman said he had a birthday party to attend to for a 95-year-old area sister, but he never offered a reschedule of that debate. I've been calling for a town hall debate. I said, let's bring these tough issues and to the public. Let's deal with this in the light of democracy. What we have been able to do is schedule 2 studio debates. The first one is tomorrow. The next one is on August 30th. But it's happening in a studio. Constituents are not invited to be present and to engage and to offer questions. I'm concerned that those without internet access, those without cable, may be excluded from being able to watch it. And again, this is an important race. The dignity of this seat requires that we go to where the people are to discuss these issues. And I've expressed my frustration, but I've also conveyed my determination that I will meet the congressman in a town hall debate whenever he is ready to face me.
I mean, on the other hand, there are a lot of birthdays, so you never know. And so perhaps he heard that Massachusetts Lawyers Weekly picked you as their top woman of law in 2016, and he doesn't want to mess with that.
I guess, but I'm not that scary.
You don't look into me, but apparently he's scared of you, at least on the policy issues. So let's talk a little bit about some of your policy issues, speaking of which. I read about your daughter a little bit. Is getting health care for everybody, you're for Medicare for all, is that personal for you?
It's personal for me from 2 fronts. I'm a family law attorney. I'm a litigator, which means that for the past 12 years, I've represented families in courts throughout Western Massachusetts in the context of their divorces, of their child custody situations, of child support, health insurance. And in Massachusetts, we're really lucky because even before the Affordable Care Act, we had Romney Care. So we've had a form of universal care for a while. But when I step back and we look at what's happening with the Affordable Care Act and how it's being attacked and it's embattled, and I recognize the importance then of supporting a legislative initiative like 676, Medicare for All Act, it is personal because I want my daughter to always have the option to have her heart care managed appropriately and with love without being afraid that we cannot afford it. And I want that same assurance and peace of mind for everyone in our district, everyone in the Commonwealth, and Americans throughout the nation.
Right, and for the audience, Tahirah's daughter, 6-year-old daughter, had life-saving heart surgery as a newborn. And look, but she's absolutely right. It isn't just about her; it's about all of us, and we all deserve health care. And so, I wanted to ask you about some of the other policies that you have as well. So, you're for what you call strong universal public education. What do you mean by universal public education?
I support having a universal preschool, so full day preschool, universal college education, meaning that people will leave college without having debt. We need to work it out. I'm 44 years old. I have a 24-year-old son. Fortunately, he was a really good high school basketball player, so he was able to leave college without debt. He went to school, a private school, D2 college, on a full scholarship. I have a 20-year-old son now who's attending the local university. I want families to be able to send their children to the institutions without being burdened by debt. I still have debt, yet I have college-age students. I've been meeting with voters throughout our district, and some school districts offer free public preschool, but in some of the cities, it's only for 2 hours. So what are we doing with 2-hour preschool for kids? When families work, that doesn't really help them because they're just juggling getting one child off for 2 hours, picking up another child from school. So we need to get ahead of providing a service like that so that families can work and plan their day and that children really get the foundational basis of education that they deserve. I was a child who went to Head Start, and I remember that I garnered so much information and just so much of an academic advantage by that experience. And I want children across the country to be able to have that.
So are you claiming, how old did you say your sons are?
I'm 44. My kids are, I have 7 kids. The oldest one is 24. The next oldest is 20. I have a 17.
You have a 24-year-old son.
7 and 4.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Okay, I think that Richard Neal has his campaign out here. She can't possibly have a 24-year-old son. Look at her. Okay, but I found a way to get Republicans to vote for college for all. you know, people who can't play basketball also should be able to get a free education, right?
Definitely.
Maybe that'll motivate them. Like, wait a minute, that's a good point, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I do have a goofy question for you because that's partly what I do. So are you bitter at Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar for beating you to Congress, for winning their primaries and likely being the first Muslim American women in Congress?
No, we figured it out. My team figured it out. Because we have to get through our primary, which is September 4th, and then we get through the general election. But we'll win the general election first because we're in Eastern Standard Time. So I think we'll actually be the first Muslim woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, just by an hour even.
Right now, Rashida Tlaib's going, I knew it. Tahirah gonna outdo us again.
Yes. It's a great rivalry to be able to have. And
Yes.
she's great.
Wouldn't that
She's
be
a wonderful,
lovely?
wonderful person. And Ilhan fought a very great fight. It's just, we have so much to look forward to this year. And this is the vision that I know you've had. It's the vision that so many Americans had. It is a process of healing for our country. I'm so excited to be a part of it.
All right, everybody, Massachusetts 1st District. Oh, by the way, let's give the websites right now. TahirahForCongress.com. And obviously you can volunteer and donate there. Make sure you click on the links down below if you're watching later on YouTube or Facebook. Tahirah Amatul-Wadud, thank you so much for joining us on Rebel Headquarters. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.